and making it possible. Thank you for your support. Now I would like to invite to the room Mr. Krishna Prasad Moturi, CMD, BioGreen Remedies. Can we have a huge round of applause for all our dignitaries, please? A huge round of applause for our dignitary, sir. Mr. Krishna Prasad Moturi, Professor Javed Iqbal, sir. Welcome, sir. Till that time, I would request Monica to please hand over a bouquet to them. Now I would like to invite Dr. N. Narasimha Rao, sir, molecular biologist, to please have a seat. Dr. Rubina ma'am to please join us. And now I would request Srinivas sir to hand over a token of bouquet to her. And Dr. N. Narasimha Rao sir to please join us. Welcome, sir. They have developed a unique in situ treatment with application upon the areas of ailments without disturbing the system. Monica, please hand over a bouquet, token of love to sir. Thank you, sir, for joining combat COVID. Our immunity boosting kits and antiviral nutraceuticals have been proven to be safe tool handy while combating corona. So not taking much of your time, let me proceed by addressing Mr. Krishna sir, the Chairman and Managing Director of BioGreen Remedies, to please take it forward.
Now, may I request the persona of eminence and father of Indian chemistry, and he had been part of the global universities, teaching chemistry and heading CSIR, as well as one of our prominent industry of Hyderabad, Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences, Professor Javed Iqbal, to initiate and explain what we have done and what we intend to do.
Thank you and good morning to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Prasad, for giving me this opportunity. And I would briefly touch upon as to what exactly is all about and how this has made a very large difference to the lives of several hundred people in the last several months, ever since the onset of COVID-19. You know, many of us are very used to the modern medicines which have been actually around for several decades, and many of us are used to having tremendous trust and belief in these modern medicines, which are mostly invented and produced by Western pharmaceutical companies. And of course, there is a mindset now among a very large section of Indian society that they feel that anything other than these modern medicines, allopathic medicine, what they're called, if you bring, they don't look at them with, they look at kind of suspicion, I would say that. Our own system of medicine, this old, thousands of years of traditional system medicine, Ayurveda, Unani, and many other such traditional system medicines have been sidetracked because of the fact that with the emergence of modern science and technology, these medicines, these traditional system medicines have been almost forgotten by a very large section of our society. I think I also attribute to the rule of British over 200 years. If you go back before the rule of British, you would find that many of these traditional system medicines were in use in a very large number, and people have been treated using those medicines, and there are many of them starting from Kerala's system of medicines to all the way to the north, and there are several other systems of medicine that we have been sort of known, that rather we have known for almost centuries, including Unani. We have also from the Chinese system medicines. Now, why these medicines survived for so many decades, so many centuries? We must ask this question. Because they were not there just like that. They have been treating people over centuries, and people were benefiting from these diseases, from these medicines rather. So what happened that suddenly that these were sidetracked, and suddenly the modern system medicine came in vogue? For almost last 200 years or a little less, we find that this traditional system medicine has completely been, I would say, forgotten. And there is a section of society in our country which still believes in and trusts in it. One more thing is very important, that in this, apart from the treatment, apart from the pharmacology the drug has, a patient or a person who's going to take it also has to have faith in it. That faith element suddenly disappeared with the advent of modern medicine, and therefore a lot of our own people whose generations or whose grandparents were kind of having tremendous faith in those medicines did not really, or rather lost the kind of trust in those medicines, and that paved the way for the modern medicine. Now, I just made this kind of background because I wanted all of you to understand why it is important today to look into these kind of system or traditional system of medicines, and what is the good and why they should be brought back into our day-to-day lives. I have worked with a pharmaceutical company, Dr. Reddy's, and I can tell you I have been a drug discoverer of modern medicine, and we put 4 medicines in humans for clinical trials, and of course all 4 of them failed sadly. But my own experience of doing drug discovery, I can share with you, is that it is actually a kind of exercise that actually is more like hitting something in dark. And if you look into almost more than 50% of medicines that we eat worldwide, most of them have their origin in the nature. In fact, they were either directly from the nature or they were inspired from the nature. So most of the medicines that you see across the world, be it is diabetes or hypertension or cancer and what have you, you would find that most of these drugs, their pedigree comes from natural products from nature. And this is what our traditional system of medicine is all about. Now, with all these learnings and with the great experience of Dr. Krishna Prasad, who had pioneering work in this area over the last 15-20 years abroad and also in India, he obviously understood what is known as the pharmacology, as to how a drug would treat you or how your body would react to a drug. And what happens when you take a drug and what transpires, what is the outcome of taking the drug, is something that actually we need to understand. And Dr. Krishna Prasad had tremendous insight into as to which medicine is really going to do what to your body, to your organ, and what kind of side effects it is going to cause. Let me also tell you, and you all know, that Western system medicines, the so-called allopathic medicines, actually have tremendous amount of side effects, whether you like it or not. And my own experience, and many of you who have been taking it, they have a very long-lasting effect, in the sense that today you might be cured because you're taking allopathic medicine, but you have to see 5-10 years down the line what will happen to your own body. And there are several cases globally in scientific journals where the side effects of those drugs have been found to be deleterious for the health. And therefore, it is extremely important today, with the kind of life we are leading, the sort of resistance we have in terms of environment, our daily life, the stress of life, the day-to-day, what you call struggle of our life, it's more than anything else. Actually, it is the mental, your mind, that actually leads to these kind of diseases, for which there actually is no cure in the modern allopathic medicines. And the kind of life, stress life, bad environment, all that actually is something that actually happens. And I can also tell you a little scientific jargon here. You all are aware of genes, genetic. You all say, oh, you have gene from your father. Now actually something, for the last 15-20 years, something called epigene or epigenetics. What it means is that you actually change your gene in your own lifetime. You don't have to take that gene from your father and just that gene remains throughout your life same. Actually, you change it. And how you change it because of your own behavior, because of your lifestyle, because of the way you live, the way you eat, the way you're stressed. So what happens, the gene that you've taken from your parents actually undergoes a change, a minor change. And that minor change is caused because of the fact the way you live, the way you eat, the way you are stressed because of the surroundings. And most important, gene environment. The environment in which we live and our gene interacts. There is a direct interaction between our gene and environment, and that brings about a major change in our gene. Now this again opens up a very tremendous challenge to our health care system, and worldwide today you have people working in the area called epigenetics. Now why I'm saying all this, because a disease is not only caused because of the fact that you happen to contract it just like that. There are several chains of events that happen in order for you to become sick, and there are several factors about it. Now, coming back to Dr. Krishna Prasad's invention, which is truly a remarkable invention. See, I had not known him, and I come from what I call a modern system of medicine. I was an allopathic person, drug discoverer, working in Dr. Reddy's, and therefore I knew all about biology, pharmacology of drugs, how they do. But when I met him, and when I spoke to him, and I found that, I mean, he's talking something which is completely out of the world. No scientist has ever thought about doing it. And what he did, and of course truly translated into the kind of outcome and output that he saw during the COVID. And I'm sure there must be some presentation that will tell you how many patients we have been able to cure in the last 6-7 months. So what does Dr. Prasad, what has he done? I mean, as a scientist, I can explain in my own limited way. Of course, he would explain himself in a more detailed way. See, what happens really is that the food that we eat, that food itself is good enough for us as a medicine. Whether you like it or not, I am a firm believer of it. And if you look into the traditional system of medicine, if you go back into thousands of years of Ayurvedic system of medicine, and I happened to be in Kerala also. I was director of the Kerala lab, and I happened to meet Dr. Warrior of, in Kerala, very famous Kottakkal. And I had a long discussion with him many years ago, and I and him supposed to have a very similar kind of outlook, that actually the medicines for every cure lies in what we eat, or what is in our surroundings, be it as a plant or a seed or a flower. So I think same is here. What Dr. Prasad did it, of course, he will tell you more in details, but what I've understood, you see, we eat food. Food is the one which is preventing us from any kind of cure, and we survive because we eat food. And why we become sick is because of the fact that either we lead a life which is not conducive to our survival, because of the fact that we live in a very stressed conditions, we eat or we lead a life which is not good for our body. So there's an imbalance. The imbalance does not correct, or rather if the imbalance is very high, then our food that we take is not good enough to correct it, and therefore we run away to a doctor and medicine and all that. Now what happens really is that the food that we eat, if you look into scientifically and also as a chemical substance, someone like me, I understand it more. I'm sure many of you, if you are chemists, you will understand. Those products, those chemicals that are present in the food actually are the ones which are responsible for making you healthy or keeping you a healthy life. Now, not many people would know. Of course, we all know which one does what independently. I mean, everybody has done some research basing this food, this ingredient in this food is this, it does this. If you take this, it cures your heart disease. If you take this, it cures your diabetes, and if you cure your hypertension. All that is known. All that is known because of the fact over the last several decades, people have done research to identify each and every ingredient that is present in food and what it does in terms of pharmacology, in terms of curing you. Now, but that is something in isolation. We all know that when we eat vegetables, we have vitamins, we have many other things. When we eat dal, we have proteins and all kind of things. When we eat fruits, we have all kind of organic materials. So all that is there. But then how do you really make them into a form of a medicine or a therapeutic intervention where you know each one of them do this, but then in what proportions, in what quantities, and in what form? Now this is where I think the modern medicine has not been able to really answer this. And this is where Dr. Prasad has brought a tremendous amount of insight into it over the last 15-20 years of research. And then he's found that these components that we actually take in every day in our life is good, but then they have to be taken, if at all they have to be taken in as a medicine, then you need to have them in a certain proportions, in a certain combination. And this is where I think is the USP, or what you call, as they call in business, that is created. And in scientific parlance, I would say this is a true innovation. Now this kind of innovation is seldom done outside the domain of, let's say, such people. I don't know how many are there in the world, but at least only one I know is him. And therefore, and just before I really quickly summarize my thing, I want to say that the side effects, why do they happen? Because the drug that you're taking is made chemically in a manufacturing plant. It has been used using several chemicals. And these chemicals are the ones which are required to make that particular drug. So when you are actually taking a drug, and the drug to your body is a foreign material, because that drug has never been consumed by you before in the form of a food. And therefore, body takes it in a temporary way, and body reacts to it also. As you know, everything that goes into a body, there is something called antibody. Like if you're invading something, there are these soldiers which get up to chase you or kind of combat you. So this is what happens really. All these artificially, chemically made drugs that we have been taking for hundreds of years do, for a very short period of time, help us in combating the disease, but in the process they leave behind what is known as side effects. The side effects may not happen immediately, it may come after 5 years, 10 years, and this has been a major area of research over the last 50 years in the area of pharmaceutical research. People are looking into all kinds of side effects. There's a huge lot of research has gone into that, what a drug does after you consume it. Now, look into this, what Dr. Krishna has done is that he has actually not used a single chemical. Okay? The chemical itself is present either in a seed or a plant or a bark or what have you, or a seed oil. And you know, the process of extracting it and process of combining it into a certain form is something that he has been able to really, in a very elegant way, demonstrate. Now you see, this drug that we have created, that he has created by BioGreen, actually is not a drug which has come through a process of any chemical involvement or involvement of any chemical process. Whatever he has done is actually a problem of extracting, separating them in a very, very clever way so that no chemical is involved. And now when you take this, what you're taking, unlike the allopathic medicine which is foreign to your body because you're taking it for the first time and your body reacts in a certain way. But when you take BioGreen formulations or drugs that you call, your body already knows them. The body is not surprised. And body is actually overcoming the deficiency of that particular ingredient present in this one. So you can see the difference now. First time, whenever you take a medicine, whenever you take allopathic medicine, it is always a foreign to your body. Remember that. If you start taking it, and before I end, I can give you one of the very major things apart from COVID-19. Only recently I've written an article I'll share with you. COVID pandemic is one thing, but there's another pandemic looming large in our backyard. In our hygiene deficient environment is antimicrobial resistance. We all fall sick because of infection of bacteria. And all the antibiotics that you know we take, bacteria has become immune to it. It has become resistant to it. I tell you, this is far more serious than COVID-19. COVID-19 perhaps one day will go away if you have a vaccine. Antimicrobial AMR is called. Go and read about it in Google, you know. Antimicrobial resistance is going to kill half of the world if we don't come up with something like a drug or a vaccine, I don't know. So what happens really is, why it has happened? Because modern medicine, the moment and penicillin came, followed by penims and carbapenems and cephalosporins and all that, we started eating it. So you go to a doctor today, what he does or she does, they just give you an antibiotic without thinking anything. Sorry, and doctor, I must apologize sitting here, but this is a well-known thing globally. People are talking about it. I'm not the only guy. So what happens really is that for anything that doctor does not understand, or you think, oh well, best thing is to give antibiotic. Overuse of antibiotic in our country has actually made these bacterial infection, what you call, resistant. Because in our country, I can buy antibiotic over the counter. In the West, you cannot do. In the West, a doctor has to prescribe you the antibiotics. And therefore, it is extremely important for us to understand today as an Indian, And I'm telling you, I'm not being an alarmist. I'm actually I mean, it's not me. I mean, you go and look into Google and you'll see what AMR is today. It will bring TB, it will bring HIV, it will bring all kind of things back, which we have been able to solve because of AMR. So this is something that, again, I'm trying to say is because of overuse. Now here, why I brought this subject, in this particular system of medicine of Dr. Prasad, it is not overuse. It's actually you're eating it. You're eating that food every day. You're eating your sabzi, you're eating your dal, you're eating your oil. So it is nothing overuse. There's no something called overuse, and therefore whatever bug is there which is going to be killed by this is going to be resistant because that bug is used to it. The moment they see it, he always goes. It's just that your body has imbalance or lack of that particular material that you can take through this medicine, is what I'm trying to say. Well, I think I have been sort of a little more open about it, and I think it's a tremendous approach by Dr. Prasad, and I think it will have a far-reaching impact on solving the problem of COVID. And I think not only COVID, it actually is a medicine, a set of medicines that actually is a well-being for the, and you will see how he has a plan to go globally as well in our country to provide a system of medicine which actually for well-being. It is not only when you fall sick that you take it. There is a regimen, there are protocols that he has evolved or he has devised where everyone sitting in this room can have it to keep themselves fit throughout the year. And it is not something that would harm you because these are all very, very harmless food-based products. Therefore, I am actually quite convinced, although all my 30-40 years I have been involved in this research, drug research and all that, I had tremendous faith in this. Of course, I knew the shortcomings of the allopathic medicines, but still, in the absence of any viable alternative, I think we found that there was nothing. But now you see there is a viable alternative, and I would say that it should be publicized among people, and I think we have enough data with us to convince everyone that why they should take this and what benefits they would come out of it. Thank you very much.
He had been guiding us, and whether any medicine, whether it is Unani, Ayurveda or allopathy, the purpose of the medicine is to cure a disorder with minimal side effects or without any side effects. We did achieve that by understanding the ancient wisdom and modernizing it. Similarly, when we understand the shortcomings of allopathic practice and as well as the ancient methodology, we try to overcome the shortcomings. So what we did is we did reduce the shortcomings and enhance the potency of our habits and habitations, and see that safely we can survive in a better way, qualitative and quantitative improvement of our lifestyle. Now I request Dr. Narasimha Rao, a noted molecular biologist, to brief his views about the way our healthcare is and what we would like to do.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, all of you. As sir just mentioned, I'm a molecular biologist turned entrepreneur. We are into advanced medicine. We, in the sense, our company, not BioGreen. Our company is into making advanced medicine called monoclonal antibodies. It's a set of molecules that are very advanced and to treat several diseases like cancers, autoimmune diseases and all. So when I heard about this particular thing, these particular medicines that are done in a natural way, I was really amazed. And the kind of potential it has. I think modern medicine is really having a difficult time to fulfill those kind of tasks that these natural medicines can do. Of course, I belong to the modern medicine drug discovery, as Professor Javed has said. We are into development of those medicines and cures for several diseases and things like that. As all of you know, if you segregate diseases, there are pathogen-driven diseases, there are lifestyle-driven diseases, and several other things. Let it be any disease. The moment, for example, let us say the pathogen-driven diseases. The moment the pathogen enters the body, our immune reactions gets triggered, and in a controlled fashion, the pathogen is killed. But what is happening in the recent pandemics and all these things, this triggering of the immune system is happening such a way that it is indiscriminately damaging our own body. So the virus is very clever. It brings in a quarrel among our own immune system and makes it fight against our own body. That is causing the major damage to us in the recent times with several, let it be MERS, SARS, SARS-CoV-1, 2, and in the past several other diseases. What we call them as, right now in this case, is a cytokine storm. Why it is happening is these drugs, this pathogen basically triggers our immune system called cytokines. There are chemical molecules. There are several of them. They fight against this virus and kills. The objective is to kill the virus. But unfortunately, what is happening is it is so rampant that what we call it is as a cytokine storm, which is killing the body. Our own tissues are getting damaged. Our own systems are hampered. So in this scenario, any drug, as a professor just mentioned, any drug is again a foreign substance to us. And these drugs are on a particular target, and it in turn triggers more immune reaction. So we already have a hyper kind of a storm here going in. These medicines are even further enhancing that activity that we are unable to sustain and come out of this disease successfully. Some who have a good lifestyle, healthy, they are able to come back. But in this scenario, as Professor Javed sir said, it is your food and lifestyle and a natural way, which is without triggering furthermore damage to the body, is the way to go. And when I heard about this medicine, I was the kind of natural products that were developed, I was really amazed. As a biologist, I said I would be more than glad to, as a social cause, to support whatever I can do for this. As we know, today in the given system, unless it is established foolproof with several other tests, battery of tests, we cannot accept that as a medicine. Here my role is to just to ensure that these medicines are in line with the advanced medicine and follow the molecular basis, what we call. It requires a tremendous amount of testing. The preliminary test, what we have done and what we have observed is something amazing. And it is too early to conclude and say all the reports at this moment.
You can talk about NIPER analysis.
Yes. Some of the tests which are done at NIPER, Kolkata, they're really, really encouraging. What we found was the components that are there in this medicine that he made. For example, should I mention the components? Or? So some of the things like andrographlite, neoandrographlite, nimbin, there are allicin. There are several compounds which are extracted from powerful natural sources.
Curcumin.
Bismethoxycurcumin.
From haldi.
From turmeric. So these are all the fantastic molecules that are brought together to address this cytokine storm. So basically, what we are doing is we are making our immune system sleep or suppress them with advanced medicine like corticosteroids and all. They're doing wonderful. I'm not saying that the corticosteroids are, bad kind of a thing. I mean, they are bad when indiscriminately used without. They basically suppress your immune system and save us from that aggressive immune reactions. But in this course, what is happening is, if you are not protected with the broad spectrum of antibiotics, several other bacteria are when your immune system is sleeping, so bacteria rampantly grows inside our body. Your lungs are bacterial secondary infections. So several other organs gets infected because the air we breathe, the water we take have several bacteria, the food we take. So if the immune system is not active, all these bacteria will develop inside the body. So it will lead into septicemia, and no other drug can cure once they go into that kind of a situation. But instead of making these drugs sleep our immune system or suppress, what we need is a modulation. Make them more work in a controlled fashion. So these are the medicines, the components that have proven record of controlling this immune system in a better way. They are immunomodulators, they are not immunosuppressives. So when you modulate your immunity in a very effective way, your natural immune system is active, it is not aggressive, but still it is active. So no secondary bacterial infections or something like that happens. So when I heard and saw these kind of compounds in there, I was really amazed. And because independently, if you see these compounds, they have several publications, several papers that are published. So they've known to do their job. Even advanced medicine, we have something like interleukin-6 blocker. Some of the cytokine blockers are there. But what they all do is they selectively block 1 or 2. But we have plethora of chemicals and cytokines, and so many cytokines are there. So many, like now we call it bradykinins. So these bradykinins kind of a compounds which are part of our immune system, they are getting into a storm. So to stop those kind of things, for example, your pineapple has something called bromelain, which blocks this bradykinin. But as we know, there are several of these molecules that are there in this cytokine storm. These natural medicines are the way to go, what we feel. They do not have the most dangerous side effects that we are seeing now. And this particular immune system is not aggressively going to this thing, controlled fashion. The body does the job. So we all should acknowledge today, for example, if you take it COVID, so we know there is no medicine, but there are some people who are coming out of it successfully without any medicine somewhere, some people. How? Because they eat good food. They eat good food, and some of the things which are naturally helping them, their immune system is not overreactive. With the lifestyle changes, everything is hampered. So what I basically mean to say is, I am committed here to ensure that these medicines are in line with the modern medicine, and do the necessary testing. So it's a long way to go to have a foolproof thing. If we have to prove it that this is a medicine for cure. Like for example, all the tests needs to be tested. The assay validation, what we say, it's a lengthy process. So having said that, these are natural products. These are of less harm or no harm. Why not? Why not we take? They are considered as a food. Why not we keep taking them in the meanwhile they get tested, not as a cure but as a this thing. But these tests will go on. Like we never knew him before. This is the strength of this molecule that brought several people together. So that is the power of a solution, a natural solution it has. So there are many people who are willing to associate with a noble cause that he has, and we all are here to support in the future. So whatever it is required in terms of taking it into the advanced medicine route, we are here. So having said that, I conclude, and I will be glad to take any questions later on.
Thank you, Dr. Narasimha. The National Institute of Pharma Education and Research, Kolkata, was kind enough to conduct tests, and also we sent them a confidentiality agreement also, and they are also eager to sign an MOU with us. They conducted the in vitro tests and confirmed that there are approximately 46 coronavirus proteins which are being binded by the ingredients and the active compounds in our product, which they have done an LCMS study and analyzed the compounds, the contents, and their action on the coronavirus. As Dr. Narasimha had been saying that we have to do so many things. Now we have initiated an official clinical trial program. On 27th of August, I have received a communication from Government of India asking us to start. This comes from FSSAI chairperson to Ayush and from Ayush to us, asking us to initiate registration into the CTRI, and we got the CTRI registration done. Probably within a week, we are going to get the clinical trials begin. In the first week of November, the clinical trials will begin, and the therapeutic values and therapeutic strength of the compounds will be probably announced in a span of 10 to 15 days. I hired a Pune-based contract research organization to do this, and prophylactic also, it's being done. So we'll have something. Intermediate results will be of the therapeutic use, how this product is good enough to treat corona positive cases, and then we will have prophylactic sustenance also. We are registering high risk health workers into the prophylactic zone, and then therapeutic is admitted to hospital people. So these things we have done. Now I request Dr. Rubina to initiate, Dr. Rubina and Mr. Gude Srinivas to initiate the testimonials of some of the patients via Zoom. There will be a Zoom connection, and after that we can handle the question and answer. And Mr. Vinay Malu would be the last speaker. He is our guest. He has come from Mumbai. We all remember, I think most of us are from Hyderabad. We used to sing Mumbai Se Aaya Mera Dost. So we welcome the Dost, and we would like to hear him at the last. Now begin.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Dr. Rubina. I'm working with Krishna Prasad sir since last 4 to 5 years, and we have treated number of cases in all sorts of diseases like arthritis, diabetes, hypertension, neuropathy, and our specialization is cancers. Now I want you to listen to from our patients their experiences.
Cardiac problem వచ్చింది. వస్తే విజయవాడలో ఒక హాస్పిటల్కి తీసుకెళ్లారు. అక్కడ మాసివ్ కార్డియాక్ స్ట్రోక్ వచ్చిందని చెప్పి నాకు ఒక స్టంట్ వేశారు. అన్ఫార్చునేట్లీ ఒక 15 డేస్కి ఆ స్టంట్ ఫెయిల్ అయింది. అది రాంగ్ ప్లేసింగ్ అండ్ రాంగ్ క్వాలిటీ అని చెప్పారు. అండ్ 15 రోజుల తర్వాత నాకు సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లం రిపీట్ అయితే నన్ను హైదరాబాద్ తీసుకొచ్చారు. హైదరాబాద్లో 2 కార్పొరేట్ హాస్పిటల్స్తో కన్సల్ట్ చేసి ట్రీట్ చేసి ఒక 15 డేస్ ట్రీట్ చేసిన తర్వాత నాకు బైపాస్ సర్జరీ చేశారు. బైపాస్ సర్జరీ చేసిన తర్వాత అగైన్ ఒక 3 monthsకి సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లం రిపీట్ అవటం మొదలుపెట్టింది. వాల్స్ బ్లాక్ అవటం, ఈ క్లాట్స్ రావటం, మళ్ళీ స్టంట్ వేశారు. అట్లా నాకు 2015 సెప్టెంబర్లో బైపాస్ సర్జరీ అయింది. 2017 ఎండింగ్ వరకు కూడా 11 స్టంట్స్ ఆన్ ఎవ్రీ 3 months, 11 స్టంట్స్ అండ్ బెలూన్స్, ఒక 4 బెలూన్స్ వేశారండి. ఇవన్నీ వేసినా నాకు ప్రాబ్లం రిపీట్ అవుతూనే ఉంది. ఎవ్రీ టైం నాకు నెక్ టైట్నెస్ రావటం, నడవలేకపోవటం, ఆయాసం రావటం, బ్రీతింగ్ ప్రాబ్లం రావటం. హాస్పిటల్కి వెళ్ళి యాంజియో చేయిస్తే 90% బ్లాక్ అయింది, మీకు స్టంట్ వేయాలంట. ఇట్లా నాకు కంటిన్యూగా దాదాపు 3 years పాటు స్టంట్స్, బెలూన్స్, యాంజియోస్ చేస్తూనే ఉన్నారు. నాకు ఫైనల్గా ఏ రకమైన సొల్యూషన్ దొరకలేదు ఈ ట్రీట్మెంట్స్తో. బాగా విసిగిపోయాను నేను. విసిగిపోయిన తర్వాత ఈలోపు మాకు మా బ్రదరు ఈ బయోగ్రీన్ రెమెడీస్ డాక్టర్ గారు కేపీ గారి దగ్గరికి తీసుకెళ్ళారు. ఆయన చూసి నాకున్న ప్రాబ్లంకి మెడిసిన్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ స్టార్ట్ చేశారు. కరెక్ట్గా 2018 ఎండింగ్లో స్టార్ట్ చేశారు. విత్ ఇన్ ఎ వీక్ ఆఫ్ టైం నేను ఒక ర్యాంప్ ఎక్కిన, కార్ డ్రైవ్ చేసిన, నేను నా లైఫ్ స్టైలే చేంజ్ అయిపోయింది. ఇవాళ నేను కంప్లీట్గా అంతకుముందు 13 వెరైటీస్ ఆఫ్ ఇంగ్లీష్ మెడిసిన్స్ యూజ్ చేసేవాడిని. ఈరోజు నాట్ ఈవెన్ ఎకోస్ప్రిన్ కూడా యూజ్ చేయట్లేదు, అండ్ ఈవెన్ పారాసిటమాల్ కూడా వాడట్లేదు. ఓన్లీ బయోగ్రీన్ రెమెడీస్, వాళ్ళ యొక్క క్లియర్ హార్ట్ పౌడర్ అండ్ హెల్దీ హార్ట్ ఆయిల్ అండ్ సమ్ అదర్ ఆయిల్స్ ఉన్నాయి. అవి చాలా తక్కువ మెడికేషన్తో చాలా నార్మల్ డైట్, నేను ఏం కావాలంటే అది తినే డైట్తో చాలా హాయిగా లైఫ్ లీడ్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో ఎవరైనా ఈయన ట్రీట్మెంట్, ఈ పర్టికులర్ కార్డియాక్ నాకు వచ్చిన ట్రీట్మెంట్ లేకపోతే ఎనీ అదర్ ట్రీట్మెంట్కి నాకున్న ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్తో ఎవరికైనా క్లారిఫికేషన్ కావాలంటే నా ఫోన్ నెంబర్ తీసుకోండి. ఈ బయోగ్రీన్ రెమెడీస్ వాళ్ళ దగ్గర ఉంటుంది, నేను క్లారిఫై చేస్తాను. అండ్ ప్రాక్టికల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, అండ్ నా ఇష్యూని చాలా హాస్పిటల్స్లో చాలా క్రిటికల్, అసలు ఈ మనిషి ఇంకా బతుకున్నాడంటే ఆశ్చర్యం అనే పరిస్థితి నుంచి ఇవాళ నేను చాలా హాయిగా లైఫ్ లీడ్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో దిస్ ఒపీనియన్ ఆన్ దిస్ ట్రీట్మెంట్, అండ్ థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ ఫర్ దిస్ డాక్టర్ అండ్ దిస్ కంపెనీ. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
The traditional medicine, there's not much of research done on most of these products, and that is why that faith does not come among people and they choose not to use the traditional medicine. So what is the solution for that?
See,
and one more question before you can answer. The quality of these phytomedicines have been going down day by day, the plant based medicines that you're talking about. So how do you really address that?
So,
or are the unwanted side effects of these phytomedicines are increasing? Can I just cite one example before you understand my question? Recently in COVID, you have been hearing a lot of immunosuppressants being taken by people, immunity boosters, but many people had reported, many people had, had unwanted ulcers due to excess consumption of turmeric and the cinnamon, etc. Whatever taking, were having a lot of side effects. So how do you really, go about this?
yeah. Is there any call?
No.
Yeah, I will answer. Madam, number 1, traditional medicine has got a long history. The history of the medicine dates back to 600 BC. Whatever documents are available. I am not talking about the mythological aspects. I am talking about the available documented evidence. So any medicine, any science which is such a old, it needs to be modernized, updated day by day.
Exactly.
So that's lacking. That's the reason your first question of the faith and all these things comes up, because a regular updation is lacking. What we have done is, what we have done is, we have taken a cue from traditional wisdom. Traditional wisdom has got a methodology of understanding human body, ailments and treatments. And from that cue, we started applying our mind, modernizing the methodology of extraction and modernizing the methodology of treatment. In allopathic practice, to treat lung infection, we need to give azithromycin orally, and this goes into the stomach, disturbs the gut, spoils the gut, and from there it has to enter into the bloodstream and then finally reach the target. Whereas we have developed a product, when it is applied on the back of your, above the ribs, it has got the easier penetration into the lung tissues. It does the action of the bronchodilation, removal of the bronchial congestion by expectoration, and also addressing the issue of infection. So this is a methodology. Now this methodology of in situ treatment without disturbing the stomach, intestine, blood, we are treating the lung disorder in situ, at the spot. When we are treating at the spot, don't you think this is most modern? This is most modern. When you look into the ingredients, what has happened, as you reported, that some of the patients who have taken excessive cinnamon and all those things, they reported ulcers. Definitely. What has happened is, knowledge has to be streamlined. Knowledge was not streamlined. And without streamlining, without understanding the potency, the damage, the action. When everybody started eating cinnamon, and cinnamon has the gastric irritation capabilities, so ulcers will develop. See, it's not that indiscriminate use or indiscriminate speaking of knowledge. Now we have to streamline. What we have done is, we have streamlined. We have used medicine, we have converted food into medicine, a 750 mg capsule. A 750 mg capsule of food ingredient is able to fight dangerous viruses, including coronavirus, and make the body fit and antiviral capabilities. How is this possible? To achieve this, if you tell people, whatever molecules we were talking, allicin, nimbin, if we start telling from where we derived it, people will start eating quintals and tons. So that has got its side effect. 750 mg comprising 4-5 active compounds from the natural ingredients which we eat regularly. Thymoquinone, we eat regularly. We don't know that what we are eating is thymoquinone. So when I talk thymoquinone, it sounds chemistry. If I say black seed, you may not, this we used to eat once upon a time. See, food material has to be converted into medicine, is an extraction process. So this process which we developed, and it's our USP, is the main component here, which has the capability of fighting a disorder. Like, you know, the earlier patient was talking about the way he was put on bypass, stents and so many medicines, and where we could handle it very easily. It's possible. You see, we should understand the nanogram, the effect of the nanogram, the increased efficacy of the drug. So converting food into drug and making it a drug, and the drug working. without involvement of any synthetic material including ethanol, methanol or alcohol. I don't use any of them for extractions because I don't want any minute side effects also coming up because of any process. The process which we developed is this. Science is a dynamic thing. Bad luck is science has become like a religion where whatever somebody has done, he will only explore within that possibility and within that room. You have to go beyond it. Science is dynamic, whether it is Ayurveda, Unani or allopathy. It has to be dynamic. That's the reason this session we are having people of eminence coming from allopathic and Unani together. We are talking together because we are talking science, we are talking solutions. I hope I have answered the question.
Can I just add one more thing to the side effects that you said? You see, I'll tell you that everything that we eat or drink is potentially is a poison, let's put it. Even water is a poison. You eat anything in excess, actually this will translate into causing damage to your organs, to tissues, and you die. This is a very simple thing. I think one of the major problems in medicine is that the quantity, the dose that we take on a regular basis has to be very properly calibrated. The lack of calibration obviously would result into giving you something that your body does not need beyond a certain amount. So I think here we need to understand that the phytochemical, that thing that you mentioned about it, perhaps is a case of giving something which is not required beyond a certain proportion or quantity to the body. So I think we got to be very careful about how much of a particular substance we consume on a regular basis. I think is very important. I think that also applies to the drugs.
Yeah, చెప్పండి.
నమస్తే మేడం. నమస్తే డాక్టర్ గారు, కృష్ణప్రసాద్ గారు అండి. నమస్కారం అండి. నేను లాస్ట్ 1 year బ్యాక్ విజయవాడలో నాకు ఇది బ్రెస్ట్ క్యాన్సర్ అని డయాగ్నోసిస్ చేశారండి. వెళ్ళి హైదరాబాద్లో మేము ఉంటాము. హైదరాబాద్లో వెళ్ళి మీరు చెకప్ చేయించుకోండి, సర్జరీ చేయాలి, బ్రెస్ట్ రిమూవ్ చేసి కీమో రేడియేషన్స్ అన్ని ఇవ్వాలని హైదరాబాద్లో 6 hospitals వెళ్ళామండి. 6 hospitals ఇదే చెప్పారండి. ఈ తర్వాత మాకు అనుకోకుండా ఒక పర్సన్ ద్వారా ఈ కృష్ణప్రసాద్ గారి ఈ ట్రీట్మెంట్ గురించి డాక్టర్ గారి నెంబరు ఇస్తే మేము వచ్చి డాక్టర్ గారిని మీట్ అయ్యామండి. డాక్టర్ గారు నా రిపోర్ట్స్ అన్ని చూసి ఏమీ సర్జరీ అవసరం లేదు, ఈ బయోమాలిక్యుల్ మెడిసిన్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఇది న్యాచురల్గా క్యూర్ చేస్తుందమ్మా, కొంచెం డైట్ ఫాలో అవ్వాలి దీనికి అని చెప్పి ఆ మెడిసిన్స్ ఇచ్చారండి. ఇప్పుడు బ్రెస్ట్ క్యాన్సర్ అనేది నాకు మొత్తం క్యూర్ అయిపోయింది. నేను నార్మల్గా ఉన్నాను. ఈ ఫుడ్కెల్లా ఈ మెడిసిన్స్కెల్లా ఎక్కువ డైట్ తీసుకోమని చెప్పారు. నాకు ఏ ప్రాబ్లం లేదండి. లాస్ట్ 2019 ఆగస్ట్ నుంచి నేను స్టార్ట్ చేశానండి ఈ మెడిసిన్. ఇప్పుడంతా నార్మల్గా ఉన్నానండి. థ్యాంక్స్ టు కృష్ణప్రసాద్ గారండి. ఆ డాక్టర్ గారి దయ వల్ల మేము ఫ్యామిలీ మొత్తం చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉన్నామండి. అందరూ చాలా భయపెట్టారండి. అది మ్యాసెక్టమీ చేయాలి, కీమో రేడియేషన్స్ అని, ఏ హాస్పిటల్కి వెళ్ళినా ఇదే ప్రాసెస్ అండి నాకు చెప్పి చాలా భయపెట్టారు. కృష్ణప్రసాద్ గారు ధైర్యం చెప్పి అలాగేం వద్దమ్మా, మన మెడిసిన్ వాడదాము, ఈ బయోగ్రీన్ మెడిసిన్, దీనివల్ల మొత్తం క్యూర్ అవుతుంది అన్నారు. నేను లాస్ట్ 1 month బ్యాక్ కూడా నేను స్కానింగ్ ఎవ్రీ 3 monthsకి స్కానింగ్ చేస్తున్నానండి. ఈ అలోపతి ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఎవరైతే విజయవాడలో నాకు స్టార్ట్ చేశారో, డయాగ్నోస్ చేశారో, ఆ రవి అమెరికన్ క్యాన్సర్ సెంటర్ అని విజయవాడలో ఆ మేడం కూడా చూసి ఆశ్చర్యపోయారండి. ఈ మెడిసిన్ గురించి కూడా వివరంగా తెలుసుకున్నారు. కొంతమంది పేషెంట్స్కి కూడా ఈ మెడిసిన్ వాడమని అడ్వైజెస్ ఇచ్చారండి. అలాగే నాకు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళందరికీ కూడా నేను ఈ బయోమాలిక్యూల్ వాడమని నేను అడ్వైజ్ ఇస్తున్నానండి. తెలిసిన వాళ్ళని కూడా పంపిస్తున్నాను. ఇదేంటి నా హిస్టరీ. అది నేనైతే ఇప్పుడు చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉన్నాను. అంతా ఈ కృష్ణప్రసాద్ గారి దయా పుణ్యం వలన, ఆ డాక్టర్ గారు కలవటమే మాకు ఒక అదృష్టమైంది. ఆ డాక్టర్ గారి వలన మేము చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉన్నామండి. నాకు ఏ ప్రాబ్లం లేదండి. ఇప్పుడు ఏ సైడ్ ఎఫెక్ట్స్ కూడా లేవండి ఈ మెడిసిన్ వల్ల.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ శ్రీదేవి.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్.
Mr. Ramakrishna sir, you can speak.
నమస్తే అండి, నా పేరు రామకృష్ణ. నేను విజయవాడలో ఉండేవాడినండి ఇదివరకు. 2015లో నాకు మాసివ్ కార్డియాక్ స్ట్రోక్ వచ్చిందండి. 2015లో వస్తే ఇక్కడ లోకల్ హాస్పిటల్లో నాకు ఒక స్టంట్ వేశారు. ఆ స్టంట్ వేసిన తర్వాత ఒక 15 daysకి ఆ స్టంట్ కొంచెం కాంప్లికేట్ అయింది. అయిన తర్వాత నన్ను హైదరాబాద్ షిఫ్ట్ చేశారండి, వేరే కార్పొరేట్ హాస్పిటల్కి. అక్కడ వాళ్ళు ఒక 1 month 1.5 months ట్రీట్ చేసిన తర్వాత నాకు బైపాస్ సర్జరీ చేశారు. ఆ స్టంట్ ప్రొట్రూడ్ అయింది, సమ్ డ్యామేజ్ జరిగింది ఆ స్టంట్లో వచ్చి. అది చేసిన తర్వాత ఇంక అక్కడి నుంచి నాకు హలో
వినపడుతుంది, మాట్లాడండి.
నాకు 2015లో కార్డియాక్ స్ట్రోక్ వచ్చిందండి, మాసివ్ కార్డియాక్ స్ట్రోక్. అది వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఒక స్టంట్ వేశారండి విజయవాడలో ఒక కార్పొరేట్ హాస్పిటల్లో. ఆ తర్వాత ఆ స్టంట్ ప్రొట్రూడ్ అయిందని వేరే డయాగ్నోస్ చేశారండి, వేరే హాస్పిటల్లో కన్సల్ట్ చేస్తే. కొంచెం మళ్ళీ అగైన్ అట్లాగనే సిమ్టమ్స్ వస్తుంటాయి. సో హైదరాబాద్లో వేరే కార్పొరేట్ హాస్పిటల్కి నన్ను షిఫ్ట్ చేశారండి. అక్కడ ఒక 1 month ట్రీట్ చేసిన తర్వాత నాకు బైపాస్ సర్జరీ చేశారండి. ఆ బైపాస్ సర్జరీ 2015 సెప్టెంబర్లో జరిగిందండి. అక్కడి నుంచి ఎవ్రీ 3 months ఒక స్టంట్ వేయడం జరిగిందండి. అంటే రిపీట్ అవుతుందండి, సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లం రిపీట్ అవుతుంది. హాస్పిటల్కి వెళ్తే ఒక స్టంట్ వేస్తున్నారండి. అట్లా టిల్ 2018 నాకు మొత్తం 11 స్టంట్స్, ఒక 2 బెలూన్ యాంజియోప్లాస్టీ చేశారండి 2018 డిసెంబర్ వరకు. ఇంకా తర్వాత మేము బాగా వెక్స్ అయిపోయి ఉన్నా ట్రీట్మెంట్ కంటే వెళ్ళటం. యాంజియోగ్రామ్స్ 14 యాంజియోగ్రామ్స్ అయినాయండి నాకు ఇప్పటి వరకు. ఈ యాంజియోగ్రామ్స్కి ట్రీట్మెంట్స్కి నేను చాలా సఫర్ అయ్యానండి. అంటే ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఇంకంతా బెడ్ రిడన్ అండి. దాదాపుగా 8 months నేను హాస్పిటలైజ్ ఉన్నాను. అయిపోయిన తర్వాత మా బ్రదర్ ద్వారా ఈ సార్ డీటెయిల్స్, ఈ ట్రీట్మెంట్ గురించి తెలిసిందండి. ఇది ఎర్లీ ఆఫ్ 2019 నేను సార్ని అప్రోచ్ అయ్యానండి. అప్పటి వరకు నేను ఎవ్రీ 3 months స్టంట్ వేయించుకోవటం, ఈ ప్రాసెస్ నుంచి టోటల్ మెడిసిన్స్ అన్నీ మానేసి స్లోగా ఈ అలోపతిక్ మెడిసిన్స్ మానేసామండి. ఈ సార్ మెడిసిన్స్ యూజ్ చేసిన తర్వాత వితిన్ 2 months ఆఫ్ టైం నా లైఫ్ స్టైలే చేంజ్ అయిపోయిందండి. అంతవరకు నేను కనీసం నడవడానికి ఇబ్బంది పడిపోయేవాడిని, లేకపోతే కొద్దిగా ఒక 2 అడుగులు వేసినా ఆయాసం వస్తుండేదండి. ఈవెన్ బ్రేక్ఫాస్ట్ కూడా నేను 2-3 గ్యాప్స్లో తీసుకునేవాడిని. బాగా ఆయాసం వచ్చేదండి, ఆ నమిలితేనే ఆ స్ట్రెయిన్ తీసుకోలేకపోయేవాడిని. అక్కడి నుంచి ఈరోజు నేను ఒక 200 kilometers లాంగ్ డ్రైవ్ చేయగలుగుతున్నానండి. తర్వాత వాకింగ్ చేయగలుగుతున్నాను. ఈవెన్ ర్యాంప్ ఏవెక్కినా కూడా నాకు పెద్ద ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఏమి ఉండట్లేదండి. అండ్ వితౌట్ సైడ్ ఎఫెక్ట్స్ ఈ మెడిసిన్తో నేను చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉన్నానండి. 2019 నుంచి ఈ రోజు వరకు ఈ ట్రీట్మెంట్లో నేను చాలా కంఫర్టబుల్గా ఉన్నాను. లైఫ్ చాలా హ్యాపీగా లీడ్ చేయగలుగుతాను. అండ్ థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ ది ఆపర్చునిటీ.
Okay sir, thank you so much.
డాక్టర్ కే ప్రసాద్ సార్.
గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ టు ఆల్ డాక్టర్స్ అండ్ కృష్ణప్రసాద్ గారికి నమస్తే సార్. సార్ నాకు ఆగస్టు 1st weekలో నాకు జస్ట్ ఫీవర్ అని వస్తే అది టెస్ట్ చేయించుకుంటే అది టైఫాయిడ్ అని ఇచ్చారు సార్. నాకు తెలిసిన డాక్టర్ మెడిసిన్ ఇచ్చారు, తగ్గలేదు. సో అప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేశానంటే మళ్ళీ ఆయన ఏమన్నారంటే అదే ఆ టైంలోనే కోవిడ్ కిట్లే దొరికాయి కదా సార్. గవర్నమెంట్ హాస్పిటల్స్ కూడా ప్రైవేట్ హాస్పిటల్కి గవర్నమెంట్ ఇచ్చిందన్నమాట, మీరు కోవిడ్ టెస్ట్లు ట్రీట్మెంట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు అని. ఆ టైంలో నాకు వచ్చింది సార్. ఆ టైంలో వచ్చినప్పుడు నాకు కనీసం కోవిడ్ టెస్ట్ చేయించుకోవడానికి కుదరలేదు. కానీ అప్పుడు మా డాక్టర్ సలహా మేరకు సిటీ స్కాన్ చేయించుకుంటే నాకు 5% ఉందని కోవిడ్. సో నేను ఎలా వాడాలో ఏమో ఆలోచిస్తుంటే ఆయన హోమియోపతి ఇచ్చారు, అది కూడా నాకు సెట్ అవ్వలేదు. తర్వాత మాకు హైదరాబాద్లో డాక్టర్ ద్వారా సత్యనారాయణ ద్వారా ఈ బయో రెమెడీస్ మెడిసిన్ 5th నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేశారండి. సో వితిన్ 5 daysలో నాకు హ్యాపీగా నాకు నెగిటివ్ వచ్చిందండి. సో విన్నర్ క్యాప్సిల్ కానీ, విన్నర్ లిక్విడ్ కానీ, ప్లస్ కానీ నేను ఇంచుమించు ఇది అయినా కోర్స్ అయిన తర్వాత కూడా నాకు లంగ్స్కి అంటే రీబూట్కి మొత్తం అన్ని అవయవాలు రికవర్ అవ్వడానికి న్యూ లైఫ్ అని ఇలాగే వాడారు సార్. బట్ నాకు హ్యాపీగా ఉంది. సో ఈ బయో రెమెడీస్ హ్యాపీ కరోనాకి 100% రికవరబుల్ అవుతుంది. అందరికీ నెగిటివ్ అయినా త్వరగా రికవర్ అవుతారని నేను చెప్తున్నాను సార్. 100% ఇస్ ట్రూ. So in India, in world also, I think.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ravi Kumar Garu.
All the dignitaries. Good afternoon, Krishna Prasad sir, Rubina ma'am, and Narayan Prasad sir also, who is not, I believe he is not here.
He is behind you.
I want to share an experience of my daughter who has been diagnosed with COVID-19. A couple of months back. On July 20th, she was supposed to undergo a surgery. A tumor which was formed in the right part of the ear, which is towards face and the brain. This surgery is said to be a rarest surgery and a serious one. Due to COVID and all, she was supposed to undergo COVID tests. She got negative in swab test and RT-PCR, but she was tested positive in CT chest. We were asked to pay some a big amount and join in a corporate hospital where I was supposed to get her surgery done. But we were not ready for all those. Through one of my childhood buddy, I came to know about Krishna Prasad sir's this biomedicine. It was actually around 1 a.m. midnight when I approached Narayan Prasad Garu. He just gave me enough strength in the call and told me to come the next day, wherein I have shown all the reports and met Rubina ma'am the next day, and we were given winner, bliss, and few more 120 by 180 liquid, which she was supposed to apply on the ribs, as earlier Krishna Prasad sir has told, and a cuff nil, which was supposed to be applied on the nostrils, on the nose, and on the neck. This was on July 20th. 21st we started the medicine. We have taken 1 week's medicine, and my wife, myself, and my son, who is 14-year-old, was also given a preventive medicine. We have taken the preventive also. Strangely, on July 27th or 28th, I have texted Rubina ma'am whether we can go for the test. She assured us and told you can go on 29th. On 29th, when we went for the test, CT chest, what all lung infection was there was zero. I can't say in words, our happiness knew no bounds. We were shocked with the results because already she was tested positive in CT chest a couple of weeks back, and we took the Fabiflu and all medicine, allopathy medicine, but there was no result. Only we had to shell down amount. But with this medicine, with usage of around 6 to 7 days exactly, there was not an iota of infection in the lungs. We were very happy. We did not have any words to express. And the surgery was performed on July 30th successfully, and she was discharged from the hospital on August 3rd. And now, after surgery also, Rubina ma'am suggested my daughter to use New Life, a powder which is supposed to be consumed with a bit of honey in the morning. She is using it now, and she is again having a surgery another 3-4 months from now. And I am really glad, happy, and indebted to Dr. Krishna Prasad Garu, Mr. Narayan Prasad, Dr. Rubina ma'am, and Dr. Sridevi, and everyone in Bioremedies in Banjara Hills, and the person who has suggested Krishna Prasad sir. I am truly indebted, and I have no words to express my happiness. You can see my joy in my face, and that's what. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
He is one of the first oral cancer surgeon of Hyderabad.
Good afternoon. Actually, I am supposed to be in Zoom, sir. I cancelled all my appointments. I came here to directly participate and give my experiences with Biogreen Remedies and association with you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It is my pleasure, sir. I am a cancer surgeon. And also you might have heard, ఈ నగరానికి ఏమవుతుంది అనే అడ్వర్టైజ్మెంట్స్ అన్నీ కూడా యాంటీ టొబాకో మీద వచ్చే వాటికి we have started along with Kalam in 96 and responsible for it, thinking that treatment is no solution for this country, only awareness is the best way. And afterwards I have become an aggressive surgeon in oral cancers, head and neck. Prevention of oral cancer is the best way, but in case if we see many cases, what to do, especially with the chewing form. And many patients, they come to dental surgeons thinking that they have burning sensation ulcers, and they turn to be, some of them are turned out to be precancerous and cancerous conditions. Sir, it is my experience with Biogreen Remedies to start with pain relief. It is a magic. If a doctor says it is a magic, you can just imagine what is the power of the Biogreen molecule. In fact, when I went to Shirdi, I saw few priests who are on the Samadhi, not able to sit properly, and I was carrying this no pain with me, and somehow I had a time to apply that to those priests, and it is a magic. Within 5 minutes they were able to come back and sit there and do the routine procedures. That was my first experience. And there itself in Shirdi, 27 people in the sanctum sanctorium, various pains were relieved with this no pain, sir, and the stress buster. That was my first experience in a temple where we are not allowed to stand for not even a minute. Then in my own experience in oral cavity, where many ulcers which were not healing, it is just one application of Termin. Otherwise, the patient has to come for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and various supplements we give like B complex, riboflavin and other things, including sometimes even steroids. And sometimes patients were becoming so annoyed, they keep changing doctors because their ulcer stomatitis is never used to heal, burning sensation. Especially if you have an ulcer on the tongue or in the mouth, you know what would be suffering. And it goes away in 5 minutes. So maybe I was thinking if we propagate this, doctors will get affected. But I thought it is patients more, comfort is more important than any other thing. So this is the second experience. And I had many patients' testimonials also. The third one, my father-in-law, who is 87-year-old, had a prostate cancer in 2013. Radiotherapy, chemotherapy was given in one of the best hospitals by the best doctors. Since I was also a colleague to them, he did not have any problems. Always his sugars used to be 300, 350, hypertensive, 2 times stroke patient. And 2020, February, he had a problem. When we took the PET scan, it has spread to bones. They said maximum 6 weeks. Then again, I have started using Dr. Krishna Prasad Gar remedies, and mind you, it has not only relieved of all his problem, he has gained weight. His sugars, which never used to be above 300, came down below 100. It is a side benefits, extra benefits, and his digestion is very good, and he is hale and healthy. This is my own family experience. And with these 3, And the general thing is now all of us are afraid of COVID, Corona. Sir, especially I will give one experience of yesterday. A patient who was admitted in a corporate hospital, suggested for lung transplant, ECMO therapy before lung transplant to sustain him. I sent winner liquid to him secretly. Patient used it in ICU. Patient is shifted second day to room. They are going to discharge him in 3 days.
Wow.
These are 4 experiences which I am telling you, sir. The greatest advantage is without side effects. The greatest advantage is very quick recovery. The greatest advantage is patient's acceptance. And whatever steroids, allopathic medicines which are giving, harming the body, they are reversing with these phytochemicals. This is my experience. These 4 experiences are live here. And there are innumerable experiences with COVID, whom we have given as a prevention. Maybe I think few thousands I have given, sir, in the last 3 months. I am the largest consumer. Secondly, whoever has taken, their energy levels have improved, their confidence levels have improved, and I would say it is working like a vaccine. And it is working like a Sanjeevani. Thank you, sir.
Sir, out of the few thousands prophylactic, anybody got COVID?
Sir, I don't have time to answer their, testimonials. So many patients, there is so much demand now that in case if it is available over the counter, they will be very glad. That is the reason why I suggested you, sir, please try to get a food license for this. And because it doesn't have any side effects. It doesn't have any side effects. If it is given as a food supplement, it will help billions of people. Because if it has to be only prescription oriented, it will take time. By the time it goes into the pen, by the time the patient start using it, it will take a time. Now we don't have time. So that is my sincere request, sir. I think the patients range from poorest of the poor to the richest of the rich also, and the doctors have used it. And I have personally experienced many cases of COVID where patients are admitted in hospitals, they have come out without any side effects after simultaneously using with allopathy. The another one greatest advantage is patients, they do not want to discontinue their allopathic prescription. If they continue simultaneously, if you use this, there are no drug interactions. That is another one observation which I have made, sir. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you so much, sir.
Taking advice from you, we have got the food license, sir. We can sell over the counter with the food license as a food supplement today. But still, we want to conduct the clinical trials. And we want to tell Indians because, you see, I don't know, all of us in our school days, we used to have a pledge, India is my country, all Indians are my brothers and sisters. Today, the time has come in this technological era, I have to say India is a country with 60% of the population living approximately surrounded by poverty. Yes. So, we are all, we used to be honest, I used to crack jokes in Dubai and other countries whenever I had interaction with Pakistanis. I used to tell them, तुम्हारे पास खाना नहीं है, तुम्हारे पास पानी नहीं है, तुम्हारे पास बिजली नहीं है, तुम्हारे पास सिक्योरिटी नहीं है. But I see, हमारे पास क्या है? I used to make fun of them. But if you look into what we have, when these millions of workers walk to their destinations, I don't know. I never expected that I'll be born in such a, all my days, I came back from Switzerland with an intention to stay in India. When NINDS US wanted to interact with me and give license for my diabetic neuropathy medicine. I refused to sell the medicine for allopathic companies in US and other companies and came back to India. I feel very bad not to witness this. We are in such a very bad shape. So at this bad shape, we want to conduct clinical trials with an intention that we sell therapy and precaution both within the reach of a common man. Our prophylactic medicine, which can prevent corona, which can prominently say that you will not get corona, maybe it should not cost more than 3,000 rupees and all. And therapy, to see that the serious case comes out of the hospital or the seriousness within 7,000. We want to price it in such a way that it is affordable and reachable within everybody. And we are doing the clinical trials, the purpose is that, sir. Otherwise, we have the food license, we can sell over the counter as a immunomodulator. There is no restriction. But still, we want to be doubly sure. When we are talking about the population who is poor, when you see it, death, each death is trauma, sir. Each death is trauma. Because a breadwinner or a housewife, anybody going away, that family gets into a trauma. So we have to save. India is a country of families. So these families have to be saved. And so that's the reason we are walking the toughest path. We don't mind. We don't mind walking the toughest path because our motive is that we have to see that maximum people get benefit out of our research. And this traditional wisdom which we got, it belongs to India. It belongs to India. So at least the first priority must be Indians. Irrespective of caste, creed and religion, the first priority must be Indians. That is the intention with which we are working hard. Thank you, sir.
And reports in the US where the toxicity of these herbal medicines act with the body's immune system. And that is why they have lost faith in the herbal medicine. It's just an observation. It's not that I'm against traditional medicine, I'm definitely for it. But, the doctors have been prescribing most of that fear in people, saying that if you take traditional medicines, your kidneys will get affected. So again, it comes down to having that faith. Today you don't have faith in the traditional system. So how do you bring that shift from the allopathy to the traditional medicine system? That's a big question mark.
You want me to answer or Dr. Chandrakant?
Anybody can answer.
No.
And sorry, doctor, when he talked about interference, there was an instance where the Haryana Chief Minister, I'm talking about long back, some decade back, where the metals in the herbal medicine had reacted, and instead of curing the Chief Minister, it was causing a reverse action. So how do you really address? I'm not doubting your medication. I'm just generally talking about the herbal medicine.
Yeah, madam, you have answered the question. You have answered the question. Why I say you have answered the question is, the metals do the disturbance. See, metals are being used in Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is not herbal medicine. Let us be clear. It's a methodology of medicine which uses herbs and metals also. There is a process of the pharmacopoeia and there is a process of manufacturing of metals combined with various things. There is a process. So that process is being questioned, and effect on kidney will be there whenever there is a unprocessed metal presence in the body. Now, when you look into the remedies coming from biogreen remedies, I don't give the whole plant also. Forget about metals. Metals we don't use. Absolutely zero metal. No synthetic drug, no metal. No, the whole plant, we don't give whole plant also. Like, if you go to traditional herbal medicine or Ayurveda anyway, you get ashwagandha. Let us assume you get ashwagandha. You take ashwagandha as a whole plant. You take sarpagandha as a whole plant. I don't do that. I extract the active molecule, the compound called withanoid. with annoyed in the ashwagandha. And that active component is added into the medicine. That is the reason a 750 mg product is able to deliver a good, deliver the results, which otherwise you have to consume a kilo. Curcumin. We all use turmeric in our house. The percentage of curcumin in the turmeric is 1%. And the chemical component in our medicine is not curcuminoid. It is bisdimethoxycurcuminoid. It has got the curcumin percentage of something around, if you calculate volume by volume, it would be around 11%. That's where when you enrich the product, when you combine the product, it becomes toxic free. Normal food is also toxic. As Javed Saab was saying, even water is poison. So anything excess is not good. So you have to eat food as food, medicine as medicine. What are the cases you have listened to them? We always have something called application. Application is in situ treatment. Our oral treatment is very limited. Our oral treatment is only into the cases of cancer and COVID. Otherwise, we don't give any medicine to be consumed. And this medicine which we are giving to be consumed orally, whether it is for cancer or COVID, is also plant extract. It's an active component of that particular plant material is extracted and combined. So that's the reason it is, you don't worry about metals. There is no metal. You don't worry about synthetic drugs which have their own multiple reactions. This medicine is having a reason. The compound has got an efficacy and it does the job. Anybody else, any questions?
If you allow me, in addition to what Dr. KP sir said, it's a fantastic question that you asked, why certain foods are so toxic. If we understand some fundamentals, we protect our children very carefully, like plant does. So plant, to keep their children, like for example seeds, it's their next generation. So to protect them, they keep certain toxins on the coat of the seeds. And also some of the leaves and roots and several parts, they keep some toxins to protect themselves. They are harmful to us. That's the reason why we say soak the seeds and eat. So at least 8 hours, 10 hours. So these toxins, once you soak for certain period, they get converted into simple compounds. For example, phytates. They're toxins to us. They inhibit the absorption from our intestine. They get simple compounds. They get converted into simple compounds. So if you take whole seed as this thing, so certain compounds like trigger acidity, ulcers, and certain things. Like he said just now, the key active components are extracted. For example, curcumin. You said people are taking the turmeric and having ulcers and all these things. But turmeric to some extent doesn't create that, but to a larger extent, if you take higher quantities, it does, because it also have those toxins, because it has to protect itself. That root has certain things. So what he just rightly mentioned, this bis-dis-methoxycurcumin or curcumin, several curcuminoids, they're extracted, and other useful or toxic substances are eliminated. So that is the reason why it scores high on the crude extracts. So hope I answered your question.
So any questions now? I would request Mr. Vinay Malu to
So you want to ask?
Yeah.
Not a question exactly.
Yeah, please.
A note of appreciation only. While all of us throughout the length and breadth of India are in the mood to boycott Chinese products, in a Rita, they said, as it celebrated widely, okay, you are trying to ban Chinese foods all over. What is that? We can ban your product if you have any worthwhile. So I appreciate your effort and the kind of research and the the outlook, your outlook for the general public and our nation and country, so on. It is a note of appreciation.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. I would request the people at the helm of affairs to at least stop craving for make in India. We have something made in India. Yeah. We have something made in India. Try to take pride in this.
That struck to my mind.
Yes. And what happens is when we take pride in made in India, we will be in a position to make in India many made in India products. Our own. See, we should try to understand. We should try to understand and get into that methodology. Rather than that, something else is not patriotism. Patriotism is loving yourself and developing your own wisdom into converting into a product.
No,
so,
exactly. Sorry to interrupt, but relating to his observation, you know, a lot of our own products are going to China and being, you know, sold at a very high price. For instance, Himalaya mushroom, which has a great efficacy, you know, medicinal efficacy. So when you're talking about made in India and you're talking about pride in our own country, capitalism is preventing us from doing that. And there is an over-exploitation of Mother Earth, the ecology getting disturbed because of, you know, getting money from these foreign countries. That again, I'm sorry that this is
No. You see, though it's a digression, when you have asked, when you have said capitalism, I would like to answer you. Mother Earth can feed everybody's need, not the greed. Huh? We had been surviving. There had been a philosopher called Pradhan who wanted to write something called Philosophy of Poverty. And he was dubbed in those days by saying there is poverty in philosophy. His philosophy itself is, he was worried, geometrically growing population, how are you going to feed? So there are things which geometrically grown agriculture products came in, fertilizers and all these things. Now it's a time we stabilize. We bring in other half of the world who are half naked, half fed, who are not part of your mainstream economics. If you don't bring this other half of the world who are half naked and half fed, capitalism is already dead. It's on a ventilator. It's a dead body on a ventilator for the past 20 years. Because you don't have consumers. You look at citizens as consumers. Time has come that capitalists like Vinay Malu, they reorganize themselves and think that we have to bring the other half into mainstream. The half naked, if he gets clothes, the half fed, if he starts feeding, then he will buy a refrigerator, he will buy, you know, what is the per gram, per capita steel consumption in India? 135 grams. How shameful it is. That means what we are using only for the latchet. We have a hut, in the hut we are using for a latchet steel, 135 grams. This is what we call development. I'm sorry, it burns my heart, and because I'm also part of the world, India. No, but we have to come to the level where we have proper utilization of all our mineral resources. We had been selling iron ore to China. We know who are the sellers of iron ore. Iron ore, Mother Earth belongs to all the people in this country. It is being sold to China at first. Few dollars, and today we say China is dominating. You sold your resources. You don't want to develop the country. It's all things, but still politics is not our game here. This press conference is meant for talking science, technology, and our development in science and technology, the way we want to treat our fellow Indians, the way we want to move ahead with the clinical trials and all these things. Heartburn, we have so much. We have many evenings, many days. We can conclude in private and then discuss. Thank you. Now I request Vinay Malu to.
I met Dr. Krishna Prasad very recently, but you know, the more and more I am coming to know about him, the kind of work he is doing is really a miracle. Okay. Like for example, yesterday I came to know that one cancer patient who had spent tens of lakhs of rupees and about maybe 60-70 lakhs rupees in 1.5 months was not cured, and told by the hospital that, you know, to the family that you please take her I mean, it's just a question of few hours. And someone referred the family to Dr. Krishna Prasad. You won't believe, in less than 24 hours, she was fit enough to sit and stand. And she lived for a couple of more years. So this is nothing but sort of a miracle. Another incident where one patient, and he had a back problem, so severe he could not even sit. And of course, I think he's from Vizag, so he could not come by flight also. So he had come to Hyderabad in a van on a stretcher. In few hours, he was able to sit, and next day he could go back to Vizag by flight. So this is a miracle. So this type of miracles he has performed on many patients. So I told him that he's doing such a wonderful job, and his medicines are nothing but sort of miracles. So we should take this globally, and there's so many people. I mean, millions and billions of people can be benefited. And he does it with...
Small interruption. I did not introduce Mr. Vinamalu properly. He is a man, some 30 years back, brought telecom revolution into India. When telecom was under restriction, he brought a technology. When we were all trying to buy that OIT phone, analog OIT phone, he made the beginning of converting one line into 7 lines, so that the gates of telephone are opened and so many things have happened. You all must be knowing Himachal Futuristic Company, when he was quite young, he did it. Now I think another revolution is waiting in the healthcare. In the meantime, he has acquired around 5,000 kilometers of gas fields in Siberia, Canada, and in Canada he has got potash company, and in Nigeria also he has got some oil fields. So from this, so we have a capitalist who has forthrightly come forward to join us and bring a revolution into the healthcare in India.
The kind of work he is doing, he deserves a Nobel Prize. I must say that. I mean,
what are your plans?
So my plan is to become partner in his venture, BioGreens, and take this company global and become a global player in this field, and so that maximum number of people can get benefited at a fraction of the cost what they are spending today. So this is my aim, and this will be the biggest service to the humanity.
Thank you. Please join us for lunch.
Hello everybody, this is Lipsika. Please subscribe to KAKATIYA TV. Please subscribe to KAKATIYA TV. Please subscribe. Push subscribe. Please subscribe. Hi, nenu RJ Kajal. Subscribe to KAKATIYA TV. Chala interesting updates and interesting content untundi KAKATIYA TV lo. So definitely subscribe cheskondi, and kinda kanipustunna bell icon ni kuda meeru nokkite meeku instant ga upload chesina ventane notification kuda vastundi kabatti do subscribe.